Hello and welcome to the MyWhoosh Sunday Race Club. With 4 race starts, we're going to start with our Category 4 riders, then 3, 2 and 1. Our riders are lined up in yellow, that is our Category 1 riders, in green our Category 2, in blue Category 3 and Category 4 in red. I know you're laughing your head up in the background because guess what? Luke Allport's on the attack at the very start of a race.
From kilometre 0.
His huge gap absolutely disappearing, evaporated with the heat put on to this race at the front by that move by Vajasic coming in. Mr. X100 now on the attack. I think for him, attack is the best form of defense here. Offensive riding by Mr. X100, Category 4 at 25.3, Category 3, they are at 23.7, 18.9k covered for Category 2 and 16.6k covered for Category 1. And again, more action in Category 1. This is that huge pack of Category 3 leaders who've gone through the big pack of Category 4 chasers. Now, as you can see, the pressure is on. Red chevrons across the screen.
Luke Allport is clear at the moment. He's got to get through that banner though. Can they make it with the pace that is coming from behind? So Allport is going to take the win today in Category 4.
Hello and welcome to the MyWhoosh Sunday Race Club. It's Qualifier Race number 4. Yes, Qualifier 4, because this is a super duper bonus month of 4 qualifiers and a final. My name's Matt Bain. I'm going to be bringing you every cliche I can think of today just to keep my co-host Emma Martin giggling away in the background. Hi, Emma.
Good day. I say good day because, of course, our riders are all around the world in all time zones. So whether you are in Sweden, Australia, or the US of A, to name just a very few, welcome to the MyWhoosh Sunday Race Club. Welcome to Qualifier Race number 4 for October.
It is our penultimate race prior to the finals. We are looking forward to our finals. But before that, we have the small matter of today's race route in front of our riders in all 4 categories. The small matter, the very mountainous Colombian route of the Paso Alto.
Well, we are heading to Colombia for 45 kilometres of racing today. And as you can see, a fairly flat run-in for the first 21.9 kilometres with 5 sprints along the way. Some at 200 metres, some at 300 metres, but it's those bridges that are going to be crucial in that opening section. Then we have 2 Category 2 climbs. The Medellin climb, 5.5 kilometres with an average gradient of 6.1%. Then we have the Bogota climb. It is 13.5 kilometres. Yes, you heard that correctly. 13.5 kilometres for our second climb with an average gradient of 3.6%. And then once that polka dot banner signifying the end of the climb segment, it's 500-metre run to the finish.
It is, and this is a tough set of climbs here. The first climb, although nominally steeper, is very consistent in gradient. The second climb, with those steps, with those bumps, and you can see that on the profile, there's less consistency to it. There's more variation, there's more change, more twists and turns. And of course, they are separated by the world-famous FRB, the flat rolling bumpy section.
Well, Vink has won here, Osborne has won here, Knudsen has won here in Category 1, and we've seen a 6-up sprint into the finish, so anything is going to happen today. So taking a look at Category 4, they are our first category away today. The Backhouse Sport Club, Red Furies, Spinergy, the Anzacs and Tour de Force are the teams on the start sheets today, alongside 46 riders. This is going to be a fantastic race. Nowak, Coking, Echeverry, Dadden, Allport, Francis McMurtry, all on start sheets today.
And I think this is going to be really interesting to see how this plays out. Our riders lined up and ready to go. This is the start of the MyWhoosh Sunday Race Club. It's Qualifier 4. It's Category 4. It's 45 kilometres. And we are go and away from the pens on this relatively flat start, separated by the inclines, by the climbing across the twists and turns of the river here in Colombia. On MyWhoosh Category 4, and all the riders making it out straight away, and that's going to leave riders with a chase, but no prizes for seeing Luke Allport back on the front again. I'm sure I'm getting deja vu here.
Well, Allport is keeping the pace high at the front of this Category 4 race, and we often see the pace high out the start pen with Category 4. The group really like to motor, and we've got one or two riders you can just see on that shot at the moment, a little bit distanced off the back of this very large group. So Allport, Abello, all leading this. Warren is in here today, so is Gomez, so is Beck. Rolling through the front at the moment as the pace remains fairly high. They're up to about 30, well, look at that, 40 kilometres an hour in 600 metres. So the pace nice and high, nice and fast, and the group rolling nice and tight out the start pen today.
So great to see our runners quickly up to speed. Coach Kev in here. Ian Lloyd is in here. Xavier Maillard as well. Marcus Britta in here. Jeff Rooney just seeing going through as well. Joy Kaluma. Real mix of riders. Great mix of nations represented in our Category 4 race pack as well. So interesting to see. Adriano Zanaskas tucked nicely in here. Remember, of course, some riders wanting to get 2 qualifying rides in before they reach the time when the selection is made for the final, because the finals, of course, you need to have 2 qualifying rides done and dusted to make those finals.
Yeah, and some months there are 4 qualifying rides, some months there are 3 qualifying rides, but this is the last qualifying ride of October. I very nearly said September then, but it's actually October.
Sure.
Now, it is October, but if you're thinking of joining the MyWhoosh Sunday Race Club, now is a great time to get on, because if you can join us for Qualifier 1 for November, that would be absolutely fabulous. So head over to mywhoosh.com, take a look on the events page, click on the Sunday Race Club. You can find all the information you need there to join us, get on board, get on the start line, start November the right way here with us on the MyWhoosh Sunday Race Club.
And don't forget, of course, MyWhoosh, you can download that on iOS, on Windows, and on Android. Go to mywhoosh.com. Whilst you're online, don't forget, of course, to make sure you follow MyWhoosh on social media. It's MyWhoosh on Instagram and on Facebook, and it's my_whoosh if you are a person on board with X. Everybody used to know it as Twitter. And don't forget, of course, MyWhoosh live on Twitch TV coming out to you. And you do need to subscribe to the YouTube channel and the MyWhoosh live channel on Twitch TV. There are going to be some very, very interesting things coming out. I happen to know this for a fact that you need to watch the videos. Some great work being done over one of our good friends of the show and of MyWhoosh, Jeff, out there creating some fantastic stuff, and great to see he was enjoying himself in doing it, and that's always a good sign.
Well, whilst the creatives are at work putting together content for you to take a look at, take a look on the top right hand corner of our screen, because those small bumps you can see on that flat profile at the moment are indeed the bridges we spoke about whilst we were talking about the map. They are about to start coming under the wheels of our Category 4 race, and really for me that is the first place we tend to see attacks on this Colombian course, Matt.
It is, and it's the I think everybody takes every chance they can get on the way in to the big climb, particularly if you're wanting to maybe put a climber into trouble. So here we go. We're going to stay in that left-hand turn. We're going to line up for the bridges. They come thick and fast here as we loop our way around. You can come out and ride this route in Colombia. The trail here that takes you in and around the bridges are available to ride, as are all of the 5 worlds. So Category 4 underway, Category 3 on the start line, ready to go. Some real fantastic riders in this race field. And of course, we've got the Hexagon team, Kane as well as Khan, Kane, Ivan Yuki of Hexagon lined up against Orego, Gutierrez, Munoz, Bulgarian, and Arroyo of the Colombian Andean team.
Well, the 2KM brothers had a phenomenal race last week in Belgium. The course really, really suiting them, both of them finishing in the top 5. But this is a stacked race field with 54 riders down in the pen. As the seconds tick down, away go Category 3 on the MyWhoosh Sunday Race Club. So Hoyas is in here, Dromard, Gakes, Bradley is back, Valles, Demanuan, Neville, Ross, Diduch, Aaron, Quadrelli, Nogueira, Kochikov, all in this start sheet today. Ryan Giuliano is there as well. It's going to be really interesting to see how this plays out, because this is a huge race field.
It is a huge race field. Really looking forward to seeing how Category 3 ride. 3 and 4 are very different categories in their riding styles, in their movement, in the way it's dynamic. They both start quick. They both push on. They both give it some beans out of the start pen. But generally, I think the Category 3 field just feels a little bit more controlled, a little bit less junior racing, and a little bit more considered.
A little bit less red mist descending
Maybe.
When they get out the start pen.
Yes, but I mean, at the same time, it's more considered. It seems a little bit less joyous. I mean, the Category 4 is like, hey, we're out, it's party time, let's go. Whereas Category 3 seems to be a bit more, shall we go? Yes.
Well,
right, we're going to go, we're going to make it hard.
I think Hoyas is having an absolute ball off the front of this pack at the moment. Now, Category 3 riders, if you want to get in touch with me at Biking Emma and tell me how joyous your riding is and racing is on the Sunday Race Club, get in touch with me. Tell me what you love about it, and let's put Matt's non-joyous racing for Category 3 idea to bed.
Feel free.
I have opened the debate. Well, talking about opening the debate, there's an attack going on at the front at the moment. Is Munoz out front? Hoyas is there. Taylor Gonsolin is chasing too. So is Cadiz. There is a real stretch on this group out of the start pen. They are 1.3 kilometres into this 45-kilometre race. It's time to rumble.
It is. This is what I mean. This is mean. This isn't just, oh, let's go, it's great. This is a, right, let's make people hurt. This is, look at this. This is a serious move. You've got 5, 6, 7 riders maybe up there who've got a gap behind. It is strung out behind.
So what you are saying then is it's not that they're riding without joy. No. It's the fact that they're riding with intention.
Yes, it's less joie de vivre and more clinical
business,
hitman, to be honest. Yeah.
Clinical hitman.
Well, it is. They're looking to do damage. Whereas I think Category 4 just like, yep, time to go play. Like, you don't like kids in the playground just go off and just go, yes, let's go. They all come pouring out the school doors into the playground. It's a bit like that. Whereas Category 3 seems to come out, and they come out and they're like, right, down to business. Let's get on with this. It's just that little bit more serious. I mean, I no sweeping stereotypes or anything, but, they went out to put some hurt on there.
Well, the hurt may have gone down, but the rest of the riders have responded. And you can see Category 4 now up and over another one of our bridges. The push is on at the front here, but the pack all rolling really well together. Now, on the bottom left-hand corner of your screen, you can see what I think is one of the best graphics on your screen here, because it gives you a real indication of what is happening in the race pack at this point in time. So going up and over the bridge, the stretch on the group, you can see absolutely in detail on the the bottom left. We've got 1, 2, 3 riders being distanced from the group. So that distancing of the group, the whittling down of the group that we talk about, particularly when we are in Colombia with these bridges, taking place at the moment. Now we're going to see a concertina because we're going to see the group come back together now they're over the other side of the bridge. But the question is, will the entire group come back together, or is this now a smaller group, albeit with only 2 or 3 riders gone off the back?
I'm sort of hovering, waiting to answer that, but I actually think they've gone. I think we're not going to see this group come back together. It's so fast. The draft is so important to hold on to as we see a Category 3 roll in. And they are absolutely flying at the moment. Remember, of course, Category 3, the first step up from Category 4. We moved from 4 to 3 to 2 to 1. And at the moment, as the riders come through, Category 3, see, there's some serious damage being done.
Push going on.
I mean, there's a real squeezer. And this is... For me, this is where these sprint segments really come into their own, because you get people going for the sprint, but then you can pull a little group up there, and then you put the pressure on, and you use that speed. We are traveling at 43 to 50 kph, and that might have been a sprint, but watch what happens now. This is where you see either a counter-attack, you see a squeeze on a push-on. They're not backing off much here. I mean, look at the watts per kilo. Look at the power going down.
Well, and this is a great tactic, isn't it, to try and break a large group up. You go for the sprint. People assume you're going for the sprint and you're going to back off, but you keep on going after the sprint.
It's a really horrible tactic when you're on the receiving.
But it's one that works.
It's an amazing tactic when you're on the front.
Well,
now.
Take a look at the right-hand corner, right-hand side of your screen, because that's the Category 4 race. And look at the attack. Look at the split of the group. 6.5 kilometres of racing, and that is absolutely being decimated at the front. It's Luke Allport, Scott Francis, Mark Dadson, David Nowak. Wow, what a group of 4.
And it's doing damage. Look at the left-hand side of the screen on that satellite navigation view. On that radar view, you can see it's strung out. There are 1s and 2s behind. Pushing now, keeping on going is going to be key, because they can thin this group down. Why carry people into that climb if you don't need to? You've got between our start line and 21.9k to distance the weaker riders, to get them out of the way, to make the picture clearer for yourself. If you want confusion, yeah, take everybody to the finish, why not? But that's not going to win you the race necessarily, although you've got to be careful how much energy you expend now and how much you save for the climb that's coming.
Well, Warren is the rider pushing on out front at the moment. Warren from the Backhouse Sport Club. This is a really interesting... Qualifiers are a great way to practice your team tactics, aren't they, for the final? And the Anzacs are right up there. So Dadson, Allport and Francis, all from the same team, all really giving it something on the front there as we see our Category 3 race. Very, very tightly bunched group at the moment, heading up and over this bridge within the first 5 kilometres. Now you can see it stretching as the leaders go down and over the other side. In fact, Giuliano, 7.6 watts per kilo. Gonzalin is at 7 as well. And that is a real push on the downslope.
That's it. Push over the top, push through the downslope. You are accelerating up and picking up the speed whilst the riders at the back are still climbing. And that's why it's so important to be up near the front. Now, of course, everybody knows this and everybody wants to be at the front, but positioning key. See a little bit of a split just formed there as they went over the top. The leading 10, 12 riders, then a gap, and now it's just starting to come back together again, but the work is having to be done to squeeze the gap down to bring it back. You can see red chevrons coming in, yellow chevrons. Everybody is pushing themselves to get back in here, and if you miss a split, you're in trouble. So this is about staying in that group. Now, it's not distanced everybody this time, but no sooner have we come together, we are going to make the catch. Now, guess where we are?
We're on a bridge.
We're at the start of the bridge. We're on the start of the ascent, and that means that we're going to see the same thing all over again. Do it again now. Do it again at the next one. Do it again at the next one. Guess what? You're going to do
I'll tell you
damage.
something. Hoyt's just kicked at 10 watts per kilo.
Good lad.
That is serious intention to stretch this group and stretch this Category 3 race out. So 5 kilometres into this Category 3 race, the stretch is on at the front. These bridges not doing any damage at the moment, because whilst they're stretching the group is coming back together again after. They have not yet dropped anybody off that I have seen.
Nope. Yeah, monosyllabic answer from a commentator. It does happen every now and then. Nope. There are riders off the back, but at the moment, This attrition is not enough to do permanent damage, I don't think. See what is really noticeable, watching the left-hand side, we're coming up. The speed of that Category 4 race has shed bodies, and they're not that far up the road, actually.
No, they're not. You know, they really are not that far up the road at all. But this group continuing to move, and that backs group, in fact, there's a couple of riders just on the back of that group. I think they are literally just going to make contact with the group as we go up and over the next bridge. Well, taking a look at Category 3 and Category 4, they are up and out. Category 2 are in the start pen. They are the next group of racers due to start.
We've got some amazing teams in our Category 2 competition as well. The Wattage Wizards, the Hitmen, Beastmen, powered by Rose. We've got the Cafe de Colombia and the UAE Falcon. So, will we see a caffeine-fueled hit on the Beasts? What will happen to the Falcons? We're going to find out. They are full of some of the biggest names in this race category, but that doesn't mean they can control the racing as we get ready to wind, sort of get ready to set off. Will they be able to dominate this with some team tactics early on, or will it be left to the individuals on that climb? The clock ticks. We are ready to go. Qualifier race number 4 in with Carsten Meyer, and we are go. It's time to hit that 45-kilometer course and climb those 914 meters of ascent out in Colombia here on the MyWhoosh Sunday Race Club. Qualifier number 4, category number 4, category number 3, and now category number 2 underway.
Well, I think Quadrelli, Oviedo, Kranich, Ospina, Hernandez, Kirchner, Swart, Betty, well, all are going to have something to say to those teams, but it's Nicholas Spratt from the Hitmen. The Hitmen have gone early. They are hitting this course. They are hitting this group of riders. Nicholas Spratt putting the power down. Carsten Meyer responding from beast mode powered by Rose, that second team wanting to be in contact. Now the Hitmen continue to dominate category 2 at the moment. They were run very, very close in the team competition last month in September. The 1st, 2nd and 9th position their riders had. The second place team had 3rd, 6th and 10th, and it came down to 58 seconds in the team competition. Now Nicholas Spratt, is he testing tactics for next week?
Could be, as Olivier Simmons now starts to wind up at 8 watts per kilo. They are doing the classic Hitmen tactic. Fire one down the road, fire 2 riders down the road, then try fire 3 riders down the road. Spratt now, Simmons now, Graves. They went at 8 watts per kilo. Instead of dragging around the bunch, they went hard. They've gone off the front, and they are making everybody work to bring them back. This is how you do it. You basically keep firing people down the road. And it's great team tactics. You've got Spratt. He's rolling away up the front with that first initial kick. And everyone is having to respond to him. And Dakowitz at the moment for beast mode powered by Rose. I think they've got it in for the Hitmen. They want to give them more.
I think Mendakowicz has been on phenomenal form this month. He's had 2 wins so far this month. So he is a rider on form. And I think he is really going to mix it up next week. So I think we are going to see a beast mode powered by Rose and the Hitmen really come together. And, well, is this a flavour of what we're going to see next week?
Ooh, I don't know. Will it be coffee flavoured?
I don't know.
I think it will. I can't see that we're going to have any vanilla racing, let's face it, in a finals week, that's for sure. 2 of my favourite flavours of ice cream there.
Well, whilst Matt revels in his concept of ice cream, it's Graves who goes on the attack now. So one hitman after the other. Graves pushing on at the front of this race. Mayer, Von Haren, Use, all in the chase. But that chasing group behind, no one has been dropped from it. But this is a fast start to this category 2 race. One attack after the other is absolutely keeping the pace high. They are just shy of 50, I'm going to say it again, just shy of 50 kilometres an hour. They've now just ticked over that speed as they continue to race and ride on this flat section before they hit the bridges shortly.
So here we go. This is about getting in, breaking the group up, making them suffer, making sure that you've got everybody on the limit. Maybe spring clear a group of riders. That's what's happened in Category 4. On the right of your screens, 5 riders clear. Dadson, Allport, Noack, Francis, along with Rooney behind. 11 seconds back, you've got the sprint leader, Ola Warren, in there. However, they've got a lot of work to do as Category 2 are chasing hard already, and Category 2 are going to hit the start of this sprint segment. We now have Krasnich, we have Graves, we have Mayer up there. The rest of this group are with them, but this has broken before we've even got onto the bridges proper. And I think what we're going to find is if the hitmen continue this, it's going to really break this group down very fast. We're going to have a very small group before we even hit the final section. So Categories 4, 3 and 2 are away. Let's dive in with Category 1. The top of the tree are elite riders lined up in those yellow jerseys. Some amazing teams here. It's going to be very interesting to see whether the Belgian Waffles or the UAE Clan team are going to take the most of the top steps. They are going to be looking to do the best that they can today, see if they can really get this wound up and take away top spot. However, there's a lot of riders in there, Emma.
There are indeed 36 riders on the start sheets now. Knudsen's had 1 win this month. Popovic has had 1 win, and Vujacin has had 1 win this month. So will we see a double up today for one of those 3, or will we have a new winner? As out of the start pens go our Category 1 race. They take the turns out of the pens and out onto the course proper. They are up to pace very, very quickly. This, interestingly, is the smallest field, or one of the smallest fields of the day today. It's that Category 3 field that is so big. But Bjorklund is in here, Kaminsky, Nair, Andres, Jason Osborne is in here today, Josh Harris is here, SS Keradine is here. A lot of riders in this pack, tightly formed out of that start pen, 40 kilometers an hour already. It's the flatlands. They are rolling.
They are indeed a really interesting mix of riders in here. As I was working my way through the start sheets earlier on this morning, when we were doing the final prep coming into the show, looking at the Category 1 race field, very noticeable that we have had all the way through this race qualifying season a massive mix of riders, but we've got some real regulars who are in, week out, not just looking at taking the win, but all the way through that race field. Some people who are regulars, I mean, Mr. X100 on our screens at the moment has been one of the regulars since day one. And, you know, he's somebody who has been out and riding and for the last few years on here and knows his platform inside out. We've got new riders coming back in. We've got returning riders from the peloton, but some of the riders just getting used to it. Really interesting to see, just seeing going through the screens there, just to pick one of the riders, Chris Dawson. So Chris Dawson is one of those riders who's just starting to learn how to race on the platform, how it rolls out. Now, Chris Dawson, you can follow him on Instagram. It's Chris Dawson Racing on Instagram. He is a really interesting rider, very, very strong indeed. But he's having to find how do you follow? Where do you follow? Where do you push? Where do you squeeze on? When you get Mr. X100 going down the road, when do you make your move? When do you start worrying?
Well, that is the rider you need to follow at the moment, because X100 has gone down the road. 2 riders coming up onto his back wheel at the moment, and that's Hassan Sultan and Jakob Bjorklund closing down that gap now. 2 seconds back to the chasing group, so X100 pushing on early. Ospina and Swartz, Primero are the Category 2 riders down the road, while those riders 4 minutes 15 seconds further down the road, 3 kilometers in front. But it's Sultan taking up the charge with Bjorklund and X100. X100 now distance a little bit from Sultan and Bjorklund, because those 2 are now on a charge.
They use that little bit of confusion coming out of the pens, that little bit of a slow start coming out for Category 1. I mean, it's still quick, don't get me wrong. These riders are absolutely class, but for this group. I think when we talk about sort of the riders behind being a little bit more calculated in, say, categories 2 or 3 compared to category 4, these guys are really, really clinical. They are absolute precision straight. They know what they want to do. They know where they're going to go. In fact, here's Chris Dawson, rider who's now looking to see, is this the time to chase down Bjorklund, Sultan, Mr. X100? When you're learning the platform, you might as well try everything, haven't you? There's no point in just holding back, particularly in our qualifiers.
Well, that's true, and actually the qualifiers are a perfect time to practice different race tactics. You know, you want to get your race tactics and your team tactics right on the final because of that team prize money competition. So where else would you practice other than in the qualifiers? And understanding and learning how you're racing on the platform, absolutely key. As we see Michael Knudsen picking up the charge, so teammate of X100, Knudsen now going up and over Bjorklund there, Sultan there, Dawson there, Popovic is in there, Andon, Kaminsky and Safrazad Paradians is there as well. So these riders pushing on. This is the green banner signifying the sprint, and that indeed is the end of the first sprint section.
So coming through, Hassan Sultan getting the sprint jersey, showing that he's got the fastest time. But remember, of course, this is live, so somebody coming through from a group at the back could come through faster chasing him. But it looks like Sultan has got that with the majority of those Category 1 riders coming through. Let's take a look now, and let's look at the times through. 22.74 won the fastest time by Hassan Sultan. But interestingly, Ethan Dont, 2 riders that we know have got a big kick on them, going through in 2nd and 3rd place, but from Category 2.
Well, it is indeed so interesting to see the power being put out by these riders, and those riders who are interested in the sprint versus those riders who just want to stay with the group at this point in the race.
So the first of our sprint segments done, 5 sprint segments, all 300 meters long. A snapshot on the race. And of course, those sprint segments really important when we came to the championships for the prizes, because of course we in the big MyWhoosh championships, which please do take a look back at. I mean, there's some great racing on there. I actually had a watch back through the week of some of the just to have a look. Really interesting when you start throwing in prizes in the sprints and in the climbs. Now, looking at this group, this was a group of 5 riders. It's now down to a group of 3 riders, with a chase behind that chase 16 seconds down. Daston, Allport and Francis on the move.
Yeah, but look at that. I think that's almost the entire Category 4 race field chasing behind. On the bottom left-hand corner of your screen, that's a huge group of Category 3 riders, but there is a gap and there are riders just off the back of that group. Category 2 on the top right-hand corner of your screen there at 7.7 kilometers into this race. That is one big race field. Nobody you can see in the distance behind that group. So rolling well across the boardwalk. Category 1, well, they are top left and the attacks have been coming thick and fast in that group, but pretty much up and over the first bridge now as they head towards the second.
So 4 categories on the way through. Category 1 out over the bridges. Category 2 in front, yet to make their way into the tunnels. Category 3 are in the subterranean tunnels, making the way through from one side, from the rainforest out towards the climbing sections. And Category 4, well, they are the nearest to the climb. They are currently at 17 kilometers. Remembering that climb starts at 21.9. So before we get there, let's take a look at what our riders are racing for in terms of the top 5 riders over the line that are verified, because of course it is 5 prizes for the top 5 riders. 432 AED through to 2,160 AED in the qualifier races. Next week, there's a reason that you need your team, and you need that team to be working well. 10,800 AED for the first team. 3 riders to count out of a maximum 5 riders on the team. Going to be very interesting to see who takes away those top 5 team prizes next week, but this week it's all about the individual competition. Now, as we move up through, you'll see that the top prize moves to 3rd. prize in the next category up. So 2,160 AD becomes third prize right in the middle, with the top prize of 3,600 for the individuals in category 3 and 18,000 AD for the team win. Category 3, of course, lower than Category 2. As we move up through those categories, we then get an increase to reflect the faster speed. So 6,000 AED for the win in Category 2, running through to 1,200 AED for 5th. And then it is 30,000 AED. Yep, 30,000 AED for the team win in Category 2 next week. So always worth that fight, that scrap behind. Now, Category 2 to 1, it's another jump up, and this time it is 10,000 AED for the win. 10,000 AED for the win, running right down to 2,000 AED for 5th. 50,000 AED for the team win in Category 1. Now, we've riders from around the globe, and it is time for my favourite segment. I hope you're sitting comfortably, because we're going to go over to Emma for the 10,000 AED is what on Emma's Exchange?
Today on Emma's Exchange, I thought we would go with Knudsen, who obviously was our winner last week. Now, you'll notice from the flag he's Danish, but we're not going for Danish krona because if you follow Michael Knudsen on Instagram, for example, you can see that his rides are very regularly posted from Switzerland.
Oh, excellent.
So I am going in honour of riding in the mountains with Swiss francs today. So 10,000 AED, 2,431 Swiss francs as of my exchange rate on Google right now.
There you go. So if you are running in Switzerland, or maybe you're going to go to the UCI to pay all your fines, which are calculated
in the currency
in Swiss francs.
of UCI fineage.
It is true. There you go. It is also the currency of Swiss fineage. Maybe that's why he's there. Maybe he's paying all his slap risks. I bet he strikes me as the sort of rider who's never been fined once in his life.
Well, that's an interesting one, isn't it? Has Nelson been fined for sock doping? Who knows? Can he be fined for sock doping on esports? Well, Jason Osborne is chasing down Hassan Sultan at the moment. Sultan has gone off the front of the group again on the bridge. They are up and over and continuing to race. And all of the riders in this pack, Sultan now coming back in to the party.
So the group going through the sprint. Jason Osborne, the rider we're featuring in, of course, the rider racing for the Alpecin de Koenig squad. Absolutely flying, riding very strongly, but really interesting. Look at that. Joshua Harris and Hassan Sultan, the two fastest Category 1, Van Haren, Don Gates, Graves, Ace and Simmons, all in the top 8. I think it's been Decorates in 9 there.
Yeah, well, and some of our viewers might be asking, well, hold on a minute. Sultan's average watts per kilo through that segment were 5.3. How come he's gone slower than Von Haren at 4.9? And that's all about technique and utilising the draft.
And it's also about your personal profile. So if, like me, you are 175 centimetres tall and you can get away with it at about, best weight at the moment is probably going to be about 78 kilos, you're pretty stocky and you're pretty solid. So you're not going to have a massive aero profile. If I was maybe 2 meters 15 in my dreams and weighed 65 kilos, I'm going to be tall, skinny and catch a lot of wind. So whilst I might be a great climber, I'm not going to be down there, but the power to weight then will vary in the absolute watts. So whilst I might be able to kick out 2,000 watts on a good day, you're not going to find that out of somebody who weighs 65 kilos. Emma, for example, it weighs less than 65 kilos. Emma, what's your maximum peak power you've ever kicked out?
I think 810.
810.
5 seconds.
There you go. So that is a comparable sort of size differential. It can make a big difference. It's not just about watts per kilo. It's not just about pure power. It's also about technique, as Emma says, and hiding in the draft, using the draft to come through so that you're not breaking through the wind. And if you are in the wind, it's also about your height and your weight and how fast you're going to go through and what you're going to generate. You know, how much wind drag is there? I mean, we've got some great kit on the MyWhoosh platform. You can go into your garage and personalize your bike, your wheels, your tires, your hat, your clothing, so that you know it's you. Henry East knows it's him. He's the only one off the front at the moment. So Henry East off the front. Now, Emma, if I was to say, what team might Henry East be in?
Well,
there's going to be potentially one answer you're going to
I
give?
would say to you, he is not the first rider from his team to launch an attack in Category 2 today. His teammate Spratt went down off of the start pen and out fast, so it is indeed the Hitmen. It does not take a lot to guess because it's been the Hitmen, it's been Beast Mode powered by Rose. Those has been the two teams on the attack today, and it is Custom Mare doing the chasing. Oviedo is there as well, but that chase group, they are now 5 to 6 seconds back.
But this is not necessarily a course where being solo works, which sounds counterintuitive as you make your way around what is essentially a flat run-in and then a big climb. However, at the moment, these riders on their way through, it looks to me like they are making their way in onto the climb. It's Category 4, and now we have Dadson and Francis together at the front. It looks like Allport has gone back into the main group. Ochoa, Livini, Bello, seeing Warren in there, in Lloyd, Efren Mamba, Adriano Zanasca, Jose Rodriguez in there. Those are the riders in that leading the chasing group behind. You can see, though, that we have groups scattered across the course there. It is fractured, and they are not that far in front of the riders behind in Category 3. Ben Kirk, at the moment, sprinting his way through. He takes the sprinters' points jersey, and Kirk now is at 18.5k. He's on his way towards that climb. He sprinted clear there. He stretched his legs out. I'd be interested to see whether he's in that leading group of Category 3 when we come to the climb.
Well, the group are coming back to him as they come towards the base of the climb. Now, X100 is the rider on the attack again. Dawson is the rider doing the chasing again. Osborne is there covering the move too, but it is X100 going down the road, and that is a preemptive attack before we get to the bridge as Dawson comes up onto his wheel. Popovich is there as well. So is Martins, Osborne, SS, Nair and Noren. All of these riders now stretching the group onto the back wheel of X100. Nobody wants to go clear, but X100 and indeed the UAE clan team keeping the pace high.
They're keeping the pace high, and I think that's because they know they don't want to let an attack go. They don't want to give away this. It's about being... the UAE clan team here are the UAE team or the Jumbo Visma team of the peloton. They're the team with the big hitters, the people who can seal the win at the finish. And that means that they want to take the people in to execute their plan when they want to do that. They don't want to let people muck it up early.
And let's remember, it's the first of our Category 2 climbs today. For me, at least, that is the most important climb today, because that second climb, the gradient on it is not steep enough for me to really split the groups when they are so well matched. Now, taking a look at this, it's Sultan's setting the fastest time through the jungle sprint, and then it is a long run of Category 2 riders. Let's not forget they are continuing to chase the Hitmen who keep going down the road, attack after attack, but it's Simeons, Von Haren, Spratt, Dont, Gates, Mare and Ramirez rounding out the top 8.
So fast running by Category 2 through there. That's a reflection of that attack on the front in Category 2. Category 1, we've got our lone leaders going off the front at the moment. We're in with Hassan Sultan, the winner of the sprints jersey so far. Remember, of course, all of the sprints are done on the run in to the climb. So we have 3 that come in up to the 10.4k marker. We have this break in between when we go through the tunnels. So it's going to be happening very shortly. We go through past our pens where our riders started. We go in underneath the cave mouth. We have something very similar actually just down the road to us here in the Peak District, in a place called Castleton. It's actually got a castle right above the entranceway, but you can approach the cave and you go straight in. I won't give you the local name for it because that is very rude indeed. However, it is very interesting. The Peak Cavern, it has that feel that you approach it and then as you walk into it, you're enclosed. And that's what the riders are going to feel here in Colombia on MyWhoosh. You go traveling towards it as the group, and then you're swallowed up by the ground and you're into this subterranean world, which is where you can see category 2 on the top right-hand side of your screen. So categories 4, 3, 2, and 1 well on the route.
For those people who are film buffs, did you know that The Lion, the Witch and the Wardrobe was actually filmed in the Peak Cavern in Derbyshire?
No, I never knew that.
Well, there you go.
Fantastic stuff. There you go. I wonder if we're going to see a lion, a witch, or maybe even a wardrobe in the caverns. I think it's only going to be the flaming brands from the film set that have made it into our caverns. Category 1 are the group that are going to find out next on the way in at the moment. So the leading rider at the moment is Mr. X100. He's doing what he does best, sitting at a big pace, putting down the watts, really making everybody work here. And I think Mr. X100 at the moment, again, I mean, we saw it on the rewind, offense, the best form of
I'll tell
defense.
you something, this is a dangerous gap actually, Matt. 11 seconds, X100. We know he is a phenomenal time trialer.
Yep.
We know he can hold a pace. He can sit at around 5 watts per kilo, probably for the rest of this race. If he continues to do that, particularly with the gradients in front of him, this is danger territory for the rest of those category 1 riders, because he is of quality with the ground and the parkour ahead of him to stay away.
And he could do. I mean, you look at that gap now, 14 seconds. And I think in part that's because nobody wants to take up the chase, thinking, one rider will get him. But this is Mr. X100, and he has gone clear. And this is, as you say, a dangerous spoon. Now, we've got to remember, as he goes on to the next section, there are not too many steep gradients. In fact, really, the steep gradients don't come to the flat rolling bumpy section or the final climb, because although this first part of the climb of the Paso Alto, the medaling climb, has a higher average gradient at 6.1%, it's very consistent, and that will suit Mr. X100. He can sit at a pace. The last part of the Paso Alto, which is the Bogota climb going up to Bogota itself, that then is actually where you get the problems in terms of steepness. Then it eases and it twists and it turns. It's actually really steppy.
But the average gradient there is 3.6%. You know, there is a kicker at around 7.7, but that average gradient, we have seen groups of riders in category 1 on that second climb here in Colombia, and we have seen sprint finishes on this course because of the matching of the quality of the race field.
It'll be interesting to see how that plays out now. Michael Knudsen closed down the attack before, who is the rider going after Mr. X100. He marked it out. He got rid of that. Again, doing the same. Justin Osborne we saw on the attack being closed down. The team of the UAE working to keep everybody under control here to give Mr. X100 the best chance out front. He's the very small yellow dot making his way down the boardwalk in front, currently at 13 seconds down the road, so holding the pace now that they are into the tunnels. And this section here, as you go over the boardwalk, is tough stuff, but we are not losing riders off the back as yet. Now Osborne again winding this up, wanting to push on after Mr. X100. He doesn't want to let him go. They have been teammates in the past on the UAE clan team, but now it's Osborne riding to try and bring them back. And who's going after Mr. X100 now? It's Frank Thompson. We've just seen quite a bit of action from Frank, a relative newcomer up to the very front of the category 1. However, looking like he doesn't want to let Mr. X100 go either. Kaminsky, well, we know Michael Kaminsky's ridden on here regularly with people like Jasper Paradiens. They are looking to keep that gap at a manageable distance. I can't imagine they would dare let it go much beyond the 20-second marker, because that then is getting into a huge effort just to close down Mr. X100 rather than necessarily racing your own race.
Well, Kaminsky finished 4th last week to Knudsen, Safrasad and Vujassin. So a rider on good form at the moment. But Safrasad is here, Andres is here, Jacobs is here, Bjorklund is here, Kaminsky, all in this group, all rotating through. And you can see on that bottom left-hand graphic, X100 still down the road. If you really squint, you can just about see him turning around that right-hand corner in the caverns, but you've really got to look hard to spot him in front.
Well, that does depend whether you're watching on a live feed on YouTube, or you're watching on the Twitch TV, which is in super high definition, or whether you're coming and watching us in 4K, which you can get as well. So please do make sure optimize your viewing. I mean, the detail is there on MyWhoosh. It does operate across all of those definitions on your screen. I'll tell you something, you don't need high definition to know that Daniel Cadiz and Daniel Arato are the riders putting the pressure on at the moment. You can see as we hit the slopes here, the first part of the Paso Alto, the Medellin climb. They're the riders who are winding this up in Category 3, and they've got a 3-second lead on the chasers behind. They're some way down the road from the leaders in Category 1. Category 1 at 15k, so currently just over a third of the race distance covered for Category 1. Category 2, well, they're sandwiched between Category 1 and Category 3, and it's Category 3 on the right-hand side of your screen who have gone over half race distance. Very, very interesting.
Well, what is very, very interesting is I've just noticed that the Category 3 riders are coming up onto the back of Category 4 riders, and one of those Category 4 riders is Luke Allport. Now, Allport took a win last week. Is this a deliberate strategy to sit up and wait for the Category 3 bunch to come through? Who knows what is happening? We don't know at the moment.
I hope Luke does.
Well, I hope he does. I hope it's a plan, but you really do not know. But here in the caverns, this is the Category 1 race, and X100 is still down the road as this group pick up the pace. We're starting to see a bit of a push on the front, and it's Chris Dawson again who is up here. So is Sultan. Now, Sultan, for me, is the rider going for that sprint jersey in the Category 1 classification. Jason Osborne pushing on as well. These riders now making use of this sprint segment to push on. Noran is there, Safrazad is there, Keradine is there. All of these riders coming through thick and fast, but it's the Category 2 riders that went through that sprint section, the San Gil sprint, the quickest. So Dont going through with a time of 23.5 seconds. Simeon's in 2, Mayer in 3, Bengston in 4, Graves in 5, Ospina in 6, Gates in 7, and Obito in 8. Howell looking like he's in 9th position. So that Category 2 race really fast and furious through that sprint section.
So let's see if they can hold out. Mr. X100 are definitely holding out, but the gap is coming down to Chris Dawson. It's holding about the same to Noran Vujasin, I think. But Chris Dawson on a move here, the Irish rider, trying to get across. Michael Knudsen marks him out again. So Mr. X100 down there. In fact, Michael Knudsen is taking advantage
I think
of the
he's making a juncture
here.
to X100
Yeah,
there.
he's on his way here, because I think what he's realised is the gap was coming down under the pressure that was coming from the riders behind. Dawson, he knows, is a threat. Knudsen is going to come across.
Look, it's Nair and Vujasin and Noran.
The Italian Gelato squad are on form. I can speak from personal experience, having suffered at the wheels of Zach Nair and Johan Noran. Great to see the team from Italian Gelato. They were out actually on Friday, and they pre-rode this, and this particular section through here, I just started to feel the fact that I was trying to hang on to their wheels.
So what did you think of the Paso Alto course then, Matt, for your pre-ride recce with the Italian Gelato squad on Friday? Of course, anybody can join that ride.
They can, yeah. So
but what did you think of the course?
So what did I think of the course? So it was really interesting, because I've ridden the Paso Alto, and the last time I rode the full Paso Alto climb from the base to the top of the climb where the finish line is today was actually in its entirety, and doing the whole lot, was actually when the world was first launched. It was in the very first week of the launch. It is much more vibrant. It's much nicer to ride up now. It's no less steep. They're
not going to have lost the gradient, you know, Matt.
No, and I rode it. The difference was I rode up it before at my pace. This time I rode up it following somebody else's pace, because I wanted to. I deliberately picked. They've got 2 groups that go on the Italian Gelato ride: a 3.5 watt per kilo group and a 2.5 watt per kilo. I went with the 3.5, knowing I was going to suffer, and I was on the wheels of Johan Noran and Zach Nair going up there. And riding it as a race or hanging onto somebody's wheel is very different. And what was really noticeable was that the upper climb, because it's longer, and because the gradient varies, and because it twists and turns and it feels very different, actually is much harder than you think it would, because it comes on the back of this first climb. So really interesting how the climb rides as a race, not as a ride. But do jump on, get onto those events, get out and ride. You never know where I might turn up. It might be the Italian Gelato ride. You never know. This week coming up, I might manage to get on the 4-4s ride, which is, I think, on a Tuesday.
Well, there are a number of rides being led by the teams racing on the MyWhoosh Sunday Race Club. We're back in with the Category 1 race, but it was all action with the Category 3 and Category 4 race as well. So those earlier starting categories now on the first climb. They're now on that Medlin climb, absolutely fast and furious. Well, what's fast and furious at the moment is that Sultan and X100 are now together, and they are pushing on at the front. So Sultan going through that sprint because that's what he wanted. Look at that, 9.4 watts per kilo. He was absolutely adamant he was going to take that. So Sultan taking the sprint, Mare in 2, Don in 3, Simmons in 4, Yeast in 5, Oviedo in 6, Holweller in 7, and Obiko in 8. That is a full raft of Category 2 riders behind Sultan from Category 1. So Sultan making the junction to X100 through that sprint section. Those two riders now 9 seconds up from the rest of the Category 1 race field.
Great racing, great riding, as always, here on the MyWhoosh Sunday Race Club. Please do make sure you give MyWhoosh a follow. It is MyWhoosh on Instagram, on Facebook. It's my_whoosh on X, so the platform formerly known as Twitter. As Category 2 are on the lower slopes here of the first part of the Passo Alto. This is the second category climb of the Medlin climb. We got some big ascent, and again, we're now starting to see that push by the team from the Hitmen here. But are they doing too much work too soon? The only time it's super important is when you get over the finish line at the end. Emma and I, we were able to go down, and in fact, we were personally sponsoring the race down at the home Pierpont, the cyclocross. Great believer in watching and supporting grassroots sport, and always have been. And we went down to support them. We were on the mic down there, and we were watching one of the really youngsters. It was our I think it was the under 16 or the under 14 boys race, and the race leaders were there for the first 2 laps, 3 laps. At the very last, though, coming through, getting his timing right, came the unknown rider from behind, a young lad from Kettering CC, not on home turf, who made the trip up through the country to race, and he took the win. And as I said to him, being on the front at the finish line is what counts. And are the Hitmen in Category 2 going too early, too hard? They're going to use all their energy up before they even hit the flat rolling bumpy and that final climb.
The Hitmen, I think, don't want to take such a large group. Look at the size of that Category 2 group there. I was going to say, they are a huge group. Oviedo pushing on at the front. Ospina's there. Spratt, Graves, Van He, Simmons, Kranich, Mare. These riders pushing here. But that group must be close to 20 riders.
But if you push, so you put the attacks in all the way into the climb, at some point you've got to do some recovery. Oviedo now attacks, a rider who's not on one of the squads this week, and then you got to then answer that as well. Well, there's only so many times you can answer these attacks, these moves, this continual kick. Really aggressive racing in Category 2 as we come on here. Ospina now pushing, and remember, Ospina, another of our really strong riders. When it comes to a climb, it goes uphill, he puts the pressure on. Spratt now having to answer, so is Mare. Tough stuff.
It is indeed tough stuff. So 19 kilometres in total of climbing split between these two Category 2 climbs, giving us a total of 914 metres by the time they get to the checkered flag. Just 146 metres so far done for Category 2.
Ouch.
Just putting things into perspective.
It was when, I tell you what, one of my abiding memories actually of riding up this on Friday, this really sticks with me, is when we were not far away from here, and the guys went, yeah, you've got about 50 minutes more climbing to do yet, Matt. And I was like, oh, seriously? And you know, it's a long way up this climb. You know, we weren't going this quick, don't get me wrong, but we were fairly motoring along. I was, you know, used every trick I could to try to stay on their wheels, not be distance, had to be attentive. And the other thing that you notice, really, when you go onto the climb, is that on some of the flatter sections of the climb, And particularly when you're on the flatter sections of the upper climb, the speed is really high, so you still feel the draft effect. This bottom section, get dropped here, you're in trouble, yes. But on the climb itself, on those lesser gradients, when you're not at 6-7%, but you're in like 2-3%, the speed is high enough when you're motoring like the guys all racing here are, that you need to be in the draft. It's really key. Get those numbers in the green for the watts, not in the white for being in the wind. Now, two sets of riders on our screen. We've got category 3 on the right. We've got category 1 on the left. Don't be fooled by that green skin suit. That is of our sprint leader, Hassan Sultan, as we see Mr. X100 winding it up again.
Well, I'm just doing a double check there. I think it's now out to 40 seconds. Like I said before, I'm going to say it again. X100 could win this.
Well, he's got his thumbs up. He's going for it. This is really interesting. Yeah,
I think he's
don't dispute it for a second.
So last time you talked about the time on this climb. In July, Osborne won in 1 hour 18. In August, Knudsen won in 1 hour 18. We're 33 minutes now into this race, so there is still a significant amount of racing to do. But I would not be wanting to take any odds on X100 riding away from this.
So, Mr. X100, when he went up, you noticed the little emotes that he threw out there, just as he left Hassan Sultan. Now, did Sultan go up? Because Mr. X100 used Hassan Sultan there, or they worked together for two different goals, but they worked together. Hassan Sultan wanted the sprints. He's taken the sprints. He's got that sprint jersey. Mission accomplished. In doing so, he had company going through there with one of the fastest moving riders in the pack at the moment. That is Mr. X100. They've put themselves out there. They've worked together. It's worked for both. Mr. X100 gets on the climb, gives it the old thumbs up onto the climb. Away he goes. Hassan Sultan now has to ride at a pace, get himself in and home. There's no more sprints on the way up from the base of the climb to the summit. It's all about the ascent. Great riding by Hassan Sultan, and he's still got 13 seconds buffer to Johan Noren and Joshua Harris, Martin Martins, who are on the way up.
Well, what I'm now interested to see is what is going to happen from that group behind that are chasing. So X100, 18 seconds in front of Sultan. Sultan, 10 seconds in front of the chase group. In fact, you can see them coming now. So that chase group now really starting to push on, and it's Jason Osborne, Lionel Vujasin, Michael Kaminsky in there. Those are the riders pushing at the moment. These are the riders we would expect to push. Chris Dawson pushing around 8 watts per kilo. But how much are these riders going to have to push to close down that gap if X100 continues to tap at around 5 watts per kilo?
So Johan Noren at the moment, 7.2 watts per kilo. So coming up here, pretty much at twice the watts per kilo that we were coming up here on Friday. He's looking just as comfy, you know. He's really motoring now. Osborne there, Kaminsky there, Martins, Dawson, Vujasin, Safrazad, Knudsen in the mix. They are going to eat up that ground pretty quickly.
They are,
that
are indeed. So they are indeed pushing on, and they are indeed eating up those meters between themselves and X100. But they are really having to dig deep to do it. So Osborne, Kaminsky, Safrazad, Dawson, Paradians, Don, Jacobs, all in the mix here in this group. And you can see on the bottom left-hand corner of your screen, you can see this leading group, or not this chasing group, should I say, in this Category 1 race coming up to the back of X100's wheel. But with damage has been done here, because we've got a split in the group, and we have a second group now further back down this mountain, because they have not been able to stay with the pace that this group have had to put in to close the gap to X100. So Osborne Guarin is the Category 2 rider. You can see this group just going up and over the top of X100 now being brought back into the fray. Vujasin, Noren, Martins, Nair, Osborne all in here, continuing to push on. They are not coming off the pace at the moment. Josh Harris is here too, really working hard as they swing around this left-hand corner. Look at this. We're starting to see the damage here. Sultan now off the back. Thompson now in trouble as well. Bjorkland has been distanced. Carradine is the rider on the back of the group up the front, but he's still on that group as they now ride away from Frank Thompson.
Real interesting. The pressure is on. The race is on. This is what it's all about. Plenty of messages coming our way at the start of the day about how tough. One of our riders said it's time to go back to war. Well, they're not wrong. This is a complete and utter fight fest here. They're battling it out on the slopes. This is all about making sure that you are right up in the mix. Johan Noren looking so strong at the moment on the front now, leading this group up here through in between the woods on the slopes here of the Medellin climb. Remember, this section of the climb climbs 330 meters. So big climb on the way up here, 174 meters in total climbed so far by our leading riders in this group. And at the moment, Johan Noren looking very strong. Vijastin trying to hold the wheels here. Safrazad in there, Harris in there, Martin's in there. Said Carradine just being the distance. SS looking like he's just fighting to hold on to the wheels in his trademark blue cap. Mistakes 100 in the red helmet, charging through this field. So after being caught, dropping to the back, getting his breath back, no surprises to see Mistakes 100 back onto the pace. I think he knows that if he wants to be with this group, he's got to get on the train, and he's got to get on now. He's going to hope that there's no more of those really vicious big kicks, which are the ones that seem to put him into that little bit more trouble, because it's like more yo-yo pace.
Well, whilst the pace is coming back together again in this group, and the selection is being made in Category 1, further up the mountain we have riders made it to the top of the Medellin City climb. They're now on the transition to the Bogota climb, where we will continue to see these groups come together. So one thing for me as we progress through this race really is that bottom left-hand graphic, because at the moment we can see the devastation this climb has done to the Category 1 race as Johan Noren pushes on. As we get to the next climb, the final climb of the day, I think we are going to see our categories come together, and we're going to see a multicoloured snake working its way up that mountain.
It is, and it's a really twisting, turning section as you go up through there. So you can see all 4 categories. Category 1 left of your screen, Category 4 right-hand side of your screen. So 1 and 2 on the Medellin climb. Category 3 stage that takes our riders to the flat, rolling, bumpy section. Then you're going to see our riders in Category 4. They're already on to the upper climb. That is of the Bogota climb.
Yeah, so this is the Category 2 race. Simmons is leading it at the moment. Van He, Mare, Dont all in there. Ospina is here. Van He is here. Graves all in this group as they continue to work together. And you can see again on that left-hand graphic, one rider off the back of the group. The group stretched on this climb. They're at 26.8 kilometers. This climb finishes at 27.4, so still some way to go. And currently it's 7.5%.
Mohamed El Alami doing a great ride in here. He's right in the mix. Matthias Van He also. They're right up, mixing it up with these riders who we see week in, week out. Also seeing Anders Bergstad in Bengtsson in there as well. Really interesting mix of riders. So some real familiar names that we've seen week in, week out. Some newer names that we don't necessarily see all the time. But of course, you've got to remember that last week was a very different course in Belgium. This week we're on the climb here of the Paso Alto, the big pass in Colombia. Where are we going to be for the finals? Well, we're not going to tell you. It's that straightforward. Might be because we don't actually know, but it's going to be very interesting to see what sort of course it is and how that plays out to the road. It's a long way to hold your form through 4 qualifiers and into a final. And I think it's not necessarily going to be the riders who are on form through the qualifiers who are all going to necessarily feature in those finals. So right-hand side of your screen, our Category 3 leaders start on to the final climb, the final part of the Paso Alto. This is the Bogota climb. It's 13.5 kilometers of ascent uphill. We are going to be making our way up this climb. They've got to get up there big move by Rato, by Njuki, and they have got the gap. They're trying to close down on Dasson and Rodriguez. They're a fair bit further up the road.
Well, I'll tell you something, those two leaders in the Category 3 race have got a huge gap now as they go into the second Category 2 climb today, the longer 13.5-kilometre climb. But Rato and Juki, two riders, 44 seconds clear of the chasing group in that Category 3 race, and they are well and truly working their way through the Category 4 riders ahead of them. Just 13 Category 4 riders ahead of them now.
So the leaders in Category 3, Daniel Rato, Ivan Yuki, are two real class acts on the front, being chased by a whole host of very fast riders. Taylor Gonsolin, I just noticed, in that chasing group. And man, you can never discount very strong rider Gonsolin. Had a great championship. But we're back in with Category 1. Martin's on form up his way here. Now he's riding on Wednesday, get some recovery done, and there's riding through with the group. Martin's out as well. He was riding then, just spinning his legs around, looking very comfortable indeed, whereas I was working probably a lot harder than he was as they come up onto this section here. They're coming up to the top, and now we're seeing a concerted effort to break this group apart. Knudsen, Noren, Popovic, Kaminsky on the front. They're really winding now. Look at the numbers that are going down. Look at those watts per kilo. They're right up there. Safran's up there. Martin's up there. They are squeezing. They know that if they can stay together into that flat rolling bumpy, they can use that group. Another big attack now, sprinting off to the left hand side there. That is a massive kick as they go off the front of Martins has gone for this. He's attacked hard there. He got the gap, but he's being closed down, and it's Pablo Popovic now who's doing now. Pablo Popovic, not only a great climber, but a rider who knows how to use this. We often coin the phrase momentum master for him. He knows when to push.
Well, Martins has been on really good form this month. He's had, I'm just taking a really quick look back, he's had 2 5ths and 1 3rd this month. So Martins really on some great form at the moment. So Martins up the front there with Pablo Popovic. They're continuing to push on. Knudsen, who took the win last week, still in the mix. Nair is there. So is Noren. Kaminsky is in there too. This Category 1 race field is working hard. Working hard is Daniele Rato and Ivan Yuki, our 2 leaders in the Category 3 race. They are about to work their way onto the back of the group ahead. That is a group of Category 4 riders. Kalumi, Echeverry, Pino, Gomez, Lloyd and Warren. They are in the top 13 in that Category 4 race. There's not many riders further up the road now as these 2 leaders in the Category 3 race try to work their way towards the front of the race field itself.
So I make it 2 groups in front of our riders in Category 3. So we have our chasing group that they're about to come onto the back of. That is the group with Pino, with Warren, with Gomez and Chiavari in there. And then it's a bigger gap to our race leaders. It's going to be about 55 seconds or so, I think, the gap between the first and second groups of Category 4. And, of course, Category 3 working their way up. And Category 4 riders using that to hitch a lift as well.
Yeah, so whilst earlier on we talked about the faster time set by Category 1 to win this race over July and August, Category 2, 1 hour 44 is the type of time we're expecting for Category 4 riders. Now we're seeing the push on here over the top of the Medellin City climb. That is our Category 1 leaders. They are up and over that, and just in front of them, well, that's a group of Category 2 riders. They are about to catch.
They are, and the pressure that push over the top here across this bridge, the pace winding up, one rider definitely dropped from the Category 1 group, but they are in a long line here. The pressure is on. They're getting stretched out. You can see everybody is really squeezed on the pedals trying to get back in. The group churning as the riders push to the front, and then somebody else squeezing. They keep on pushing the way through. 56 kilometers an hour, 60k an hour here. It's really winding, and that is going to mean that they're going to stay clear of the riders they've dropped. But at the very front, you can see Vujasi now squeezes as he goes around that corner. That climb is going to be decisive in terms of selection. It won't be decisive in terms of the win. Martin Martins with the fastest time of the medalling climb here today, 12 minutes 38.578.
Yeah, take a look at that. And Safrazad, Popovic, Harris, Vujasin, Kaminsky, Knudsen and Noren. Osborne is the rider in 9th. And just take a look at my screen. Zach Nair, the rider in 10th. So the top 10 fastest times going up the Medellin City climb there in front of us. It's Vujasin leading the charge with Knudsen and Popovic at the moment. Martins is doing the chasing because this is fast and furious now to hang on to this group. This is an absolute concerted attack going on here in Category 1.
In Category 2, on the right of the screen there, the leaders working well. They're not that far ahead of this Category 1 race. Category 1 leaders are at the moment flying. This, Emma, this section, we call it the FRB, so named by Emma across the studio from me. The flat, rolling, bumpy section.
Well, that's because what it is.
On its way up. It's exactly what it is. One of the things that's really noticeable when you come through here, if you can ride this hard, so you ride it really pushing through, you don't tend to ease off. It goes incredibly quickly, and before you know it, you are on the final climb of the day. Really, really interesting. Ride this hard, ride this aggressively. It rolls through, it's fast, it feels fast, and it does damage. It
does damage, because look at the damage it's done. So we have now 6 riders leading this Category 1 race with 10 seconds back to Norin and Nair and Kaminsky. So this is absolutely splitting this Category 1 race, and it wasn't the Medellin City, it wasn't the Medellin climb, it was indeed the flat, rolling, bumpy section, the transition section between the 2 climbs. And that bottom left-hand corner of your screen clearly shows this Category 1 race now split into numerous groups. So in this leading group, Vujasin, Popovic, Martins, Knudsen, all in this group. So Knudsen is the rider pushing on at the front. Popovic is there, so is Vujasin. Safrazad keeps it's continuing to rotate, continuing to change as the riders continue to keep the pace up and the pace high on the front of this pack.
So the riders coming in, they're going to take this right-hand turn. They're not far away from the base of the climb. They're going to traverse along the side of the river at the moment as they make their way up currently at the top of the Medellin City climb through the city. They're coming out around the side here of the lake. It won't be long before they make the move on to the main climb of the day. It is the same categorization of 2 on the course profile, but it's longer. It is 13.5K. It has slightly less average gradient, but it has some very steep steps in it as well. Our Category 2 leaders on the right-hand side of your screen, Simmons, Graves and Dodd, along with Ospina and El Hami in there. I think I'm just watching them go through. Mary in there as well. Category 2, a bigger group. We've seen a push from Phil Graves go down the road at 7 watts per kilo. So Graves just making a move in Category 2. Category 1, Martin Martins, again, very, very active.
Yeah, they are indeed. But let's just put this into some perspective, shall we? Category 1 have just over 14 kilometres still to race. Category 2, well, they've got just over 12 kilometres still to race. There is still some phenomenal distance for these riders to cover.
There is indeed time for the riders to make sure they're fueled up, rehydrated. They have grabbed themselves gel. Really interesting watching this now. So Category 1 hit the base of the climb. Category 4 well up this climb, but still plenty of distance to do.
Yeah, well, our Category 3 riders now moving through this Category 4 race field. Daniele Ratto and Ivan Naduki, the 2 leaders in this Category 3 race, are now 6th and 7th on the road. Just 5 Category 4 riders ahead of them. And taking a look at that, is looking like Dadson is pushing clear now of Rodriguez in this Category 4 race. Dexter Abello fighting Rodriguez. Scott Francis Francis is there as well. And then a little bit further back, well, this is a little bit further back, and it's Daniele Ratto, the leader, leading this Category 3 race with Najuki on his wheel, coming up to the riders in the Category 4 race ahead of them.
So here we go. First rider being caught. It's about to be caught and past. Ratto and Juki are going through. He's going to try and stay with them. I'm not sure he's going to be able to. They're moving at nearly 6 watts per kilo here. He's going to come up on Francis Rodriguez and Bello as they go down the side. Well, those riders, they're going to be calling for a horse, my kingdom for a horse. They're going to need one to get up here. I'm not sure they've got the horsepower to stay with our leader. I suspect it will be their winter of discontent as they make their way onto the wheels, because the riders at the front trying to stretch this out, trying to go clear are Category 3 leads. They've got 2 riders in front, Rodriguez, and now it's Dadson. So Mark Dadson, our solo leader, we're looking back behind him. We're waiting for them to appear. They are literally just behind him on that turn, and they're just coming into sight now. So Dadson leading, the leader in Category 4. He is at 36 kilometers. He's got 9k to go, but boy, Category 3 leaders are coming, and they are coming quick.
Well, Ratto is pushing on now, the Category 3 leader behind the Category 4 leader. So Dadson pushing on here, still at the front of this race, but Daniele Ratto, there's some phenomenal work going in behind. The riders jumping in and sitting in behind, desperate to hold the wheel. So Bello is there, Najuki is there, Ratto is there, Rodriguez is there, Francis just off the pace as they pull back to Mark Dadson, the rider currently leading this race.
Great move by Ratto there. The moment he got into the slipstream and was coming up, he kicked. He's used it to maximum effect. He's looking to use it to break clear at the front. Juki's with him, but that advantage of getting the draft from Dadson was enough to equalize the draft of the riders behind and then put them in trouble. So the Category 4 riders that were trying to stay with the Category 3 had the advantage of sitting in the draft. And a real quick move here, Ivan Juki almost counter-attacking over the top of Daniele Ratto. So Ratto went through, he sprinted up onto the wheel of Dadson, he went over the top, the pressure came on. Juki did exactly the same, sat on the wheel as he came through, and that went over. What a great race in Categories 3 and 4, and another amazing race here in Category 1. Martin, Said Sapristad, and Pablo Popovic, they have got company in the shape of Vujacin, but we've also got some really strong Category 2 riders in here. Nicholas Spratt sat in with this group. Behind is 20 seconds back behind this group that does contain Michael Knudsen, our regular winner on here. But this is really starting to open up. Looks like Noren at 20 seconds, and looks like Zach Nair, the 2 Italian gelato riders, well, I think he was nearer to that minute marker.
Well, really interesting to see what's going on here at the moment in this Category 1 race. It has been really fast and furious from the start. The mountain is rolling out in front of them, and you can really see where the riders are back down that mountain on that bottom left graphic. But this is the group who are pushing on at the moment. Pushing on in the Category 2 race is Olivier Simmons, just being joined by his teammate Philip Graves. Van He is there as well, so is Mer, so is El Alami, so is Dont. This is a good, strong group at the front still of this Category 2 race. Ospina is there as well, both David and Carlos Ospina, both in the mix. So this is a strong leading group in the Category 2 race. They're at 35.2 kilometres into this 45-kilometre race, so 9.8 kilometres to go.
So Category 2 into their last 10k. Category 3 and 4 further up the road, being led out by the riders in Category 3 who have overtaken Category 4. Quick reminder, if you have had a little bit of a break from watching, Categories 3 and 4 are in the same world in Category 1 and 2 in the parallel world. So the two sets of riders are able to see each other in Categories 3 and 4 and Categories 1 and 2. Now, left-hand side of your screen is Category 1. They are currently at 34k. We've got 10k to go of this 13k climb. And what's really interesting, because this is such a long climb, when we look at that course profile, what we see is we see it as one long line up here. What you don't see is the bumps and the steeper sections of flattening off. If you look closely at the right-hand side here, you can actually see that it levels, that there are landings, there are platforms, there are plateaus that you can basically ride onto, and then it steepens up in between. And actually there's a lot of kick stop here, and when you're riding, when your smart turbo is clamping down, it really goes on. You can see that on that right hand side. 10k left, Emma. They know it's basically all uphill. If you were there, would your tactic just be to ride, or would you be trying to use some of this terrain?
Well, it's really interesting. It's a really long climb, and it would depend where on it I was. I think the attacks are not going to come.
You've 10k to go.
I think the attacks are not going to come towards the end, and it does indeed level out at the end. It is pretty much a flatter section towards the finish, which would mean there is the possibility of a group coming back together, or you'd have to get a decent gap. So for me, I think I'd be sat in the bunch if I was in Category 2 and trying to stay there.
So sitting in the bunch, just trying to stay there, see who's left of them, wait towards the end.
I would.
That end, it's so riding it on Friday was really interesting. As you come up, it doesn't feel flat because you've done so much climbing. You go over the top. It's like one of those false flats. It should be flat. It's supposed to look flat. It feels like it's still about 5% coming into that line.
Phil Graves is the rider pushing on at the front here. I don't think he wants to leave this till the end. He's got a class-stacked group of riders with him. So Graves in one, Mare just picking up the mantle now as Dont, Ospina, Van He all in the mix. Continue to pull the other riders in that group up to the wheel. Taking a look there, that's 7 riders in the leading group. Top 5.
Top 5 is what counts. Will they be in there? Remember, of course, these results, as we're calling them, are all live and will be at the end of the show. When all of our riders finish their race, then it will change from live to being unofficial. And then at the very end of the show, when everybody then has had their rides checked, they will turn into verified results, and the verified results are the ones that count, and of course what we pay the prize of monies from. Now David Ospina on the front here in Category 2 will be looking to take away top prize in that Category 2 race field. He is making life difficult for the riders behind. Grace, Mare, Dont, Simmons, El-Alami, Van He in here. Krasnich is out of touch. He's at 121. So our top 5, I think, are going to come from Dont, Ospina, Mare, from El-Alami, from Simmons, and from Van He and Grace. One of those riders, I think Krasnich, out of the running now and not going to come back in to the group. In Category 1, well, our leading group fractures, it reforms, it fractures, it reforms. At the moment, these are your leaders in Category 1. We have got Lionel Vujasic, Martin Martins, Michael Nussen, Said Safrazad, Daniel Turek, Pablo Popovic in that mix as well. I think Chaos B Hernandez in there. Just going to run through them. Gatesman and Dakowitz are in the area, but they're Category 2 riders. They would have been looking to try and get a lift with this fast-moving Category 1 group. I think Hernandez doing that. I think Gates is 10 seconds off. I don't think he's going to make the back of this group, but it certainly looks to be like good move being made by a number of those Category 2 riders using the Category 1 riders as they come through to try and catch a lift, and the Category 1 leads are not that far down the road.
Yeah, so this group all pushing and pushing strongly, all still together. They continue to ride. I'm just taking a little look at Turek's pro cycling stats information at the moment. You know, I do like to have a little bit of a look and
Spot the professor in the room.
See how he's doing a little bit of research as we go. The Tour of Slovenska, really interesting. Strong in the mountains classification. The Tour of Bulgaria, strong in the mountains classification. So we can see the Czech Tour, strong in the mountains classification. This is obviously a home for him in terms of his ability to climb.
It is, and the Czech rider, Daniel Turek, looking strong. He's in the right place. He's got a great power to weight ratio if you can climb like that. And at the moment, he's sitting with some exalted company here on the MyWhoosh Sunday race club. Said Safrazad, another rider who went well in the Tour of Turkey, another rider who's on great form at the moment, really carving out his pro career. You've got Pablo Popovic in there, the legend of riding on the Sunday race club. Martin Martins, another rider who we know can mix it up and can take the victory. Lionel Vujasin is in here. He'll be looking to shed his Wout van Aert second place tag that he seems to have fallen into a little at the moment. We know he's capable of top spot. We know he's capable of taking the win. He's desperately looking for it, and he will want it even more in Belgium. He will be hoping, I'm sure, for a Belgian final. Will we go back there that quick? I can't wait to find out.
I don't think so. But who knows where we're going for the final next week. But at the moment, it's X100 here doing some chasing. He's got Noren for company. Hernandez, the Category 2 rider, just the rider dropping off. That is the white cap with the green stripes. You can see just pulling up onto the wheel as we drop onto the, I'm going to say, flatter section of the climb. The gradient just 1% at the moment. So X100 picking up the pace, Noren coming through as well. They are 27 seconds down on the leading group, which is on the left-hand side of your screen. 27 seconds, around 250 meters.
It is. It doesn't sound a lot, does it? 250 meters, but on this climb, it feels a long, long way. And remember, of course, that we're going to be racing uphill pretty much all the way to 45 kilometers here on the MyWhoosh Sunday Race Club as the horses dance down the side. These guys dancing out of the saddle as they make their way up here. So we've got 6 riders, I think, pretty much together on this section of the climb here. They are our leading riders: Turek, Vujasin, Knudsen, Safrazad, Popovic, Martins. They are the riders who have the front of the Category 1 race on the left of your screen. On the right-hand side of your screen, these are the leaders in Category 2. They are currently at 38.4k, so about 800 meters in front. It's not a lot, is it, Emma?
It's not, and they are about to come up onto what is the chase group in the Category 2 race. That's the riders on the left-hand side of your screen, and that's the Category 1 group that are going to make the catch. As we see them head up to the corner, you can see that on the bottom left-hand graphic, they're about to make the catch. Now, the leaders in that Category 2 race are further up the mountain. You can just about see them in that graphic, but this is the catch at the moment because Safrazad, Vujasin, Turek, Knudsen, Popovic and Martins are charging up this mountain at the moment, 27 kilometers an hour.
Ouch.
It's 3.9% gradient. They
Ouch.
are absolutely class racers today.
They are class racers, and they are moving at a scary, scary, scary speed up here. Right now, this is very brutal stuff indeed. They really do have to keep the wits about them. They've got to stay focused as they come up onto this next group. This is a spinner. It's Krasnich. We're talking
These
really
are good
riders.
Category 2 riders.
That's exactly my point. They are absolutely class riders. They are really, really strong. And I'm sure they will want to try and make the most of this. But this express train of 6 leaders in Category 1, I mean, just so impressive.
Well, take a look. Martins has just kicked at 7 watts per kilo to ensure the charge past these Category 2 riders. At that type of pace, I don't think Holwell et al. Are going to be staying with them. They might try, but they're not going to last very long. Phil Graves and the leading group of 6, well, it looks like they're about a minute 45 up the road, around 900 meters. It's going to be interesting to see how long it takes this leading Category 1 group to bring that group back in.
And that group, as they came through, Vujasin using that little bit of confusion, that little bit of a mix to try and break the group. And Knudsen goes with him, Martin goes with him, Popovic goes with him. Right-hand side of his screen, the leaders in Category 2 there. So as Category 1 go through the Category 2 chases, it's all to play for. It is going to be a real fight to the finish here. You can see the riders in that chasing group trying to stay with them, desperately diving into the yellow and red zones. Meanwhile, the leaders on the road are Category 3 leaders. They're being chased by 2 Category 4 riders, and 3rd and 4th in the Category, 3rd, 4th and 5th in the Category 3 race behind. But these 2 riders are rocketing up here. They must have helium in their tyres. The speed that they're coming up, they have motored up this climb. And I think for me now, as we approach the 3 kilometers to go marker, Ivan Juki and Daniel Rasso are going to be turning their thoughts about how they take the win, not about leaving everybody else in their dust and about staying clear of the chasers. This is going to start to be a focus on that finish line.
Well, this is the Ugandan rider against the Italian rider. It is going to be a really interesting battle to see who comes out on top over the next 3 kilometers. Behind there is now a big gap back to Munoz, who is currently now in 3rd place in that Category 3 race. He's got Bert Cahen for company. A little bit further down the road, Khan Cahen is there as well. They are all now ahead of the leaders in the Category 4 race.
So 5 minutes of head start eliminated as the Category 3 riders come through. You can see right hand side of your screen, Munoz just working to try and break clear of Khan Cahen, of Alessio Caigula. Alessio Caigula, a regular DS as well as rider, and a rider who is very strong in his own race category. He also can talk the talk as well as what he's a great DS who does slip into Italian every now and then on his commentary to the riders. Very interesting to have a listen in. Good to see him out and racing here. Meanwhile, left-hand side of your screen, another push coming from Ratto, another answer coming from Juki. But look at this Ratto really making the most of this slight leveling off. It's going to kick again, but he's all the way in to the red zone at the moment. He's pushing it, and he's 6 watts per kilo. Juki's got to answer him. Really tight racing in Category 3 and in Category 4, and Category 1 and 2, well, they're just knocking chunks out of each other.
Well, they are indeed, because Knudsen's on the attack again. Vujasin is the rider marking him. Now, Vujasin and Knudsen have been battling each other all month this month. So Knudsen and Vujasin back fighting each other. Popovic is in there, so is Safrazad. Safrazad is digging in. I've just seen 9 watts per kilo come out of Safrazad because he does not want to let Knudsen and Vujasin go. Martins is digging in as well. Do you know, nobody wants to get dropped from this group. Turek is in there as well. Might be on the back of the group, but the watts he's kicking out means he's going to come back into the group. He really does not want to let them go, because if he lets them go now, that is it. It is over. So Daniel Turek pushing on to join this group, this elite group of Category 1 racers. They're in Colombia. This is the Paso Alto. There is 4.3 kilometers to go.
And straight into the group goes the chase there by Turek, and straight off the front goes Martin Martins. What a race, what riding here on MyWhoosh. I'll tell you something, Emma, this course, I think, this time around, we've had this course and sometimes we get onto the climb and they all wait for the sprint. It's not happening today.
Well, what is really interesting is there's a lot of esports racing going on at the moment, and there are a lot of riders on form and race fit, and this is why it is playing out today absolutely fast and furious. And the quality of the racing you are watching on the MyWhoosh Sunday Race Club here, qualifier race number 4, is indeed world-class esports racing. Vujasin, Popovic, Safrazad, Knudsen, Martins are all in the mix. Turek is continuing continuing to hang on to this group. They are continuing to fight, and Knudsen has kicked again. He really does not want to take someone like Vujasin or Popovic into the finish, because he will have a real struggle with the top end power of those two riders' sprints. So he's continuing to dig, but do you know what? They continue to come back.
Great racing in Category 1 on the left of your screen. On the right-hand side, your leader on the road. This is Daniel Ratto, and he has broken Juki. We saw him put the attack in. We saw Juki trying to answer, and it looks like Ivan Yuki has been found wanting. The thoughts did indeed turn to winning the race, and Daniel Ratto has gone for this. He's got the gap. It's 12 seconds. Juki has a gap of 1 minute 20 or so behind him to Khan Kayan, but Kayan has made the junction with Caligula, so the battle for 3rd, 4th, 5th and so on is wide open in Category 3, but the race leader in Category 3 now into his last 900 or so meters. It is Daniel Ratto on the right of your screen. Juki in second there. He's the rider in the blue here now. What he's got to do, he's got to maintain that gap. This is now about maintaining second place. Remember, top 5 riders get prizes. That's how it works. Top 5 riders, when the riders are verified, are then going to be getting those fantastic prizes from categories 4, 3, 2, and 1. Daniel Ratto now comes into town. This is a very welcome sight, I can tell you, as you come up through, out from the forest into town. Gradient continuing at 4.5%. Here it is tough stuff, and you've got to keep on kicking, because you will want to get in underneath the polka dot banner first of all for the end of the climb, and then the further distance of 500 meters to the finishing line. This, though, the top of the Bogota climb, the first rider who's going to hit it is Daniel Ratto from Category 3, and he's continuing to kick it nearly 5 watts per kilo. He goes underneath. He's going to reinforce his lead in the polka dots, in the jerseys there. Juki's going to come through in second place, but I don't know whether he's going to have the second fastest time. Be really interesting to see, because the group behind are working together, and they are actually coming up at a fair old pace.
Well, they are indeed, as Ratto continues to gain momentum on the group and continues to push to the finish line. Just 300 meters to go now. The chase is on from behind, but it's 22 seconds back. I don't think that gap is going to come down in the next 300 meters. I think we're going to see Daniele Ratto from Italy take the win today in Category 3 and be the first rider across the line on the MyWhoosh Sunday Race Club. So as he taps on those pedals, dancing his way to the finish, he can now look up and see the finish banner. That is the end of this 45-kilometer race today.
So here we go. This is our race leader on his way in. It's been a great ride.
So Daniele Ratto went up the mountain with Najuki. The 2 riders rode away from the rest of the Category 3 race field, but Ratto put in that final dig. Ratto is your winner today on the MyWhoosh Sunday Race Club, taking the win in the Category 3 race.
So the first of our riders in, Daniele Ratto, comes through, taking the yellow, the green and the polka dot. He takes the full sweep of jerseys on his way to that win. Great ride by Ivan Juki to hold on and to take that second place as he comes through. This is the run for 3rd, and it looks like Zapata is broken away in the last kilometre. He's got the gap. Caligula, Gates, Khan Kayan, Bert Kayan all chasing behind, but the gap is 14 seconds. He should make this no matter how fast they kick. He'll want to come through the line and take a top 3 position, but it looks like he is going to come through clear of the rest of the Category 3 race field. Our Category 4 leaders are not very far behind, in fact. And they just see these riders coming through. So Bert Kayan's going to come through for 4th. Khan Kayan, I think, just going to hold on for 5th. Geraldo taking 6th there as they come through the line. Just going to take a quick look back. Michael Knudsen on the attack here with line over Justin Said. Safrastad answering it. Popovic doing the same.
Oh, look at that.
Turek is there. Martins is there, but they are in trouble 1 second doesn't sound a lot, but it is a bit of distance, and Knudsen really winding at 8 watts per kilo in category 1.
Oh, take a look at Knudsen's heart rate. He's currently ticking up to 193 now. I know he can top out at 201 because we've seen that on the finish line, but he's still got 1.2 kilometers to the finish line. So this is eyeballs out at the moment. Martins is there, so is Safrazad, Vujassin and Turek. They are all in there. They are 40 seconds clear of Noren.
So category 1, left-hand side of your screen, they are over 1k to the finish still, but category 2 are well on their way in to that finishing line. They're into town now. That means that they are at sub 700 meters to go, and they are now running in for the line. This is going to come down to a sprint. Who's got anything left? Here they come, Emma. They're on the way to the 500-meter marker, and they're finishing it like this is the sprint for the line.
Well, there's 7 riders in the leading group in the Category 2 race. They've got 500 meters to go. Graves sneaking on to the back of the group, but it's Don who pushes on. He's kicked with 500 meters to go. That is a long run for the finish. Graves is there as well, just trying to sit in second wheel. Ospina, Van Hay is there as well. So is Mayer and El Alami, but it's Don who's pushed at 9 watts per kilo. He is seriously gone, and he has got a long run and a long kick. But at 9 watts per kilo, Van He's kicking at 10 behind. Who else is winding it up? Because there's a long run. Can Don hold this from Van He? Van He is coming. Simmons is coming now as well. Can Simmons close the gap before they hit the yellow banner? Van He is going to come over the top, I think. I think it's going to be Van He from Dont. Van He comes over the top. Will he hold it? Because Simmons is coming. But Van He, I think, is going to take the win. Van He takes the win in category 2.
So this is the run line in category 1. Here we go, Michael Knudsen winding it up here. Say Safrazad goes and tries to take the momentum in the skin suit, but look who's here. It's only Lionel Vujassin who's got Popovic on his wheel. Popovic, is he going to roll him? He's coming for the sprint. It's going to be a 4 sprint for the line. Say Safrazad, I think, goes over the line. Popovic sneaks it. Has he taken it? He has. He has rolled him by what is a less than 400th of a second. What a ride by the momentum master. Pablo Popovic takes it out. He takes the win from Saeed Safrazad. It's a 3rd place for Lionel Vujassin, getting a habit, that bronze medal spot for Vujassin. Knudsen unable to repeat his win. Martin's coming across in 5th place. Oh my goodness, what a climb up here. And it's not all over yet. Johan Noren, Mr. X100, on the way up here, chasing hard on the way to the line. We can just see, I think it's going to be Noren, the next rider in. A real pleasure to ride with Johan Noren and Zach Nair yesterday, on Friday. You can tell how fantastic it's been. It's been fast up here. Great to ride with them. Do please jump on to the rides created by the teams. It's always great fun. You can find them on the events page of MyWhoosh. Johan Noren and Zach Nair. I had the pleasure of their company on the ride on Friday. That's available for you to ride. Jump on board, get those rides in. Just get in touch with MyWhoosh. As Johan Noren makes his way up here, he is going to come in across the line. He's got a gap back to his X100, which means he can spin his legs round as he comes in and through that finishing line. Great racing today in all our categories, Emma.
Amazing. Category 1, let me just say, 0.065 of a second between 1st and 4th.
0.065. Amazing, the difference. Look at that. Great riding. Brilliant to see. In fact, it's 0.031. There you go. Less than third of a second on the results now on screen. Brilliant to see as our next rider comes in over the line. Mr. X100, that initial attack by Mr. X100 really pushing on. So here's your confirmed top 8. Pablo Popovic in 1, Safrazad in 2, Lionel Vujassin in 3, Michael Knudsen in 4, Martin's in 5, Daniel Turek in 6, Johan Noren in 7, and Mr. X100 rounding out the top 8. All our results at the moment are, of course, live. They will become unofficial and then verified over on the mywhoosh.com/results page. Make sure you go on there, have a look. And, of course, get ready for our finals, which are coming up next Sunday. Make sure you give us a subscribe. Give us a follow on the Twitch TV or on YouTube. Don't forget, whilst you're on there, catch up with me. It is at Matt Fixer Payne across social media. It's Matt Payne on MyWhoosh. Please do come and join me on a ride. Give me some company. Give me a push up the hill. Emma, where can we find you on social media?
You can find me at Biking Emma on Instagram. Please do get in touch if you are lining up with your teammates for the final next week. Please let us know where you are riding, who you are riding with, and what you think you're likely to be able to achieve.
Well, let's see those messages come in. It's been an absolute pleasure putting words to action. It can't happen without lots of people behind the scenes, from the people who put the game together to, of course, bringing us these fantastic images for us to put the words to the action. I hope you watching have enjoyed them. I hope our riders have somewhere along the line enjoyed what has been an absolutely blisteringly quick race in qualifier race number 4. We're back next week with our finals, but remember, until then, stay safe. We'll see you again soon.
Goodbye.
Goodbye.